Today is the day. Prince Harry is now on the stand giving his testimony at the High Court against the Mirror Group newspaper, otherwise known as MGN. They have just broken for lunch, so I'm giving you an up-to-date of what's happened so far, trial recap, what he said, and how he is absolutely being destroyed, and how his case is being ripped to shreds on the stand. So make sure you subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for more details in this Daily Nerd starting right now. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the news and pop culture stories of the day that's pretty much caught me eye, and oh my goodness, before I jump into all the juicy details of what's been going on so far at the High Court with Prince Harry on the stand, there is a little bit of housekeeping as always. Firstly, YouTube human reviewer, I see you lurking. I'm not going to say any trigger words or anything that's going to offend your ear holes. And to everyone else awesome enough to have clicked on this video, hey up, how you all doing? If you've got some very strong feelings about this, and I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. Let's have a conversation about all of this, because it does guarantee a response from me. And oh yeah, let's jump into this one, shall we? So a lot has been said already this morning in court from Prince Harry. I'm going to give you the highlights, the recap. But yes, at 10:30 this morning, UK time, he enters the witness box. And this is the thing, right? He says he would rather be addressed as Prince Harry. Yes, the royal family that he completely diminishes and throws under the bus and says that they're racist. Sorry, excuse me, unconsciously biased. Yeah, he still, even to this day, is like, yeah, I'll still be linked to them. You may call me Prince. Right. But yeah, let's continue, right? So, firstly, yeah, Prince Harry receives an apology as the cross-examination begins. Yes, Mirror Group newspapers lawyer Andrew Green KC has begun the absolute destruction and tearing to shreds of both Prince Harry and his case. Yeah, he even uses otherwise known as spare, against him. And we're going to find out how he does that very well later on down the line. So here, Prince Harry is asked what criteria was used to choose the articles in question that he brought to the court to prove unlawful information gathering, such as phone hacking. And Prince Harry responds, the ones that showed the most obvious elements of intrusive and unlawful activity. Now, were they obvious? Does he have any evidence to back it up? Well, we'll find out. Now, he says that the government is at rock bottom in terms of, you know, this whole situation with the press and the unlawful information gathering situation. Now, this is quite unprecedented because no royal family member ever comments on anything publicly when it comes to politics. Not even a little smidgen bit. It just doesn't happen. So for him to turn around and literally say the government is at rock bottom, for the UK, for our culture, that's a big thing for a royal family member, even of his stature, to be commenting on politics so publicly and so direct. Now, he is asked whether he read the articles in question. Again, the articles that he's bringing to the High Court to prove that there was unlawful information gathering. And guess what? He says, I didn't say that I didn't read them at the time. This is approximately 20 years ago. I would be speculating if I said I can remember exactly reading these articles when I was 12 years old. So hang on a minute. He didn't read the articles? If you don't know the content of the articles when they were released, how do you know that then such content was actually obtained by unlawful information gathering means, right? Like, I He then goes into mode, saying that the press has been hostile since he was born. Asked whether it would be right to say that he had a long-standing hostility to the press due to the press intrusion in his life, the Duke said it would be. And get this right, yesterday, okay, in the opening argument, the opening statements, Harry's lawyer turns around and says, this is no vendetta against the press. No vendetta against the press. However, Prince Harry's just turned around and said that he has a long-standing hostility to the press. But this ain't a vendetta. This whole court case is not a vendetta, right? Now, he is questioned over his witness statement. And the Mirror Group newspaper's lawyer says, who has blood on their hands? And Prince Harry says, some of the editors and journalists who are responsible for some of the pain and sadness and inadvertently death. Wah! Yeah, but how? How are they responsible? Like, what is the direct evidence that Prince Harry's got to be able to make such a statement? You're going to find that at the moment, it might be a conspiracy theory, whatever, he hasn't brought any evidence. Here, Prince Harry says that the stories played a destructive role in his childhood. He says, quote, as a child, every single one of these articles played an important and destructive role in my growing up. Even though he just mentioned a few moments ago that at the time he didn't read the articles. There was he didn't know the content of the articles at all. It's like, what the douche, right? And here, still insisting that he may not have been aware of the specific content of the articles. Like, dude, if you're not aware of the specific content of the articles, how do you know that it was unlawful information gathering to begin with? Oh my goodness. And later on down the line in a few moments, Mirror Group newspaper, they're bringing the receipts. They're bringing the evidence that is tearing his case to shreds and destroying him on the stand. Now, he was then questioned over paranoia claims. So MGN's lawyer asked the Duke how he became hugely paranoid if he didn't read the articles, right? And Prince Harry says, many of the articles I did read. Okay, so he either read the articles or he didn't. Like, a few moments ago, he said he didn't read the articles. Now he says he read some of them, many of them. Like, this dude is chopping and changing his story, right? Adding the vast majority were attributed to a pal, a friend, a source, an onlooker, which actually creates more suspicion about where the articles come from. But this is the thing. If the vast majority of these articles that he's bringing to court, he's saying were attributed to a pal, a friend, a source, an onlooker, well, then it's not unlawful information gathering because the journalist has gone to a pal, a friend, a source, an onlooker for the story, right? Okay, and so we go on. So this was mentioned in his Prince Harry's lawyer's opening statement yesterday about Princess Diana's Eton visit. When he was like 12 years old, his birthday party. And so he brings, the MGM lawyer brings up the fact that the Press Association, otherwise known as the PA, had actually reported first that Princess Diana was due to visit him for his 12th birthday at Eton before any of the Mirror Group newspaper titles did. And he's backed into a corner here, guys, because Prince Harry turns around and says, I wasn't aware of that. And then MGN's lawyer turns around and says, well, Princess Diana's spokeswoman had confirmed her appearance to the Press Association. So one of the articles, right, that Prince Harry is bringing to High Court to say, this is evidence of unlawful information gathering, MGN's just turned round with evidence saying, how is that the case when the Press Association reported it first? Oh, target getting destroyed. We then get on to the Mirror divorce story. So Prince Harry at this point is responding to questions from the MGN lawyer over an article published by the Daily Mirror in '96, which mentions his feelings about the then Prince Charles and the late Princess of Wales divorce, Princess Diana. He says, like most children, I took their divorce badly. I don't think the quote is a guess. I think specific information was found out I wouldn't say it was an assumption. Saying the article itself and every, if not most of the elements in it were intrusive, and the journalist himself had no legitimacy to put it into a newspaper. Saying that the obtaining of that information seems incredibly suspicious to him. Yeah, you can say it's incredibly suspicious, but that does then not automatically equal that the information, the content in the article was obtained through unlawful information gathering. And he's turning around and he's saying, you know what, there was no legitimacy to put that into newspaper. Okay, even if there's no legitimacy to put it into newspaper, that then still doesn't mean that the information in the newspaper was obtained by unlawful information gathering. Again, Prince Harry is going, wah, on the stand. This is insane. Now, he is then questioned over Princess Diana's statement. So still discussing the same article, MGN's lawyer then asks Prince Harry where he thinks his mother's statements come from. And he says, quote, "It seems my mother was responding to a question, but this was specifically the press association. The explanation that my mother gave would probably have been like a red flag to a bull to any journalist. But either way, it doesn't matter if Princess Diana was responding to a question that was specifically the Press Association, because at the end of the day, the Press Association got the story first, they released it, the Mirror Group newspaper then followed up afterwards. That does not prove that the Mirror Group newspaper did any unlawful information gathering over this specific article and story. Then he turns to another story about Paddy Whiteland. Now, he's a former gardener who at the time was in hospital suffering from cancer. This was a 1996 article, and it said that Prince Harry would probably be as distressed as his father. Now, Prince Harry says, I don't know how anyone would know that. But then, MGN lawyer comes with the receipts, comes with the evidence to destroy this one as well, saying, well, hang on a minute, there's previous reports of the then Prince Charles discussing the family's, quote, warm relationship with the gardener, saying that previous articles referred to the fact that Princes Harry and William would visit the gardener at his home often. So then to turn around and say, yeah, he would probably be as distressed as his father at the gardener's illness, knowing that it was reported previously that they had a warm relationship with the gardener and Princes Harry and William would visit the gardener at his home often, it's a safe assumption to make. That, again, does not prove that with this article there was any unlawful information gathering. If anything, at best, it's just pure speculation and that's it. And I bet he feels this. At the bottom he says, I feel like we're doing a workout. Yeah, doing a proper workout, completely debunking and destroying and tearing his case to shreds. This MGN lawyer is doing a fantastic job at this. Now, they turn to another article, and this is the Prince's take to the hills for the gala. Now, this is about Prince Harry's plans to go on a rock climbing trip with Prince William rather than attending a gala pageant for the Queen Mother. MGN turns round and they deny getting this information unlawfully, saying that, get this, it had already been reported in the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday stories beforehand, which confirmed the brothers' absence from the gala and their rock climbing plans. They also say that the non-attendance had already been confirmed by Buckingham Palace at that point. Are you seeing a little bit of a pattern here, right? Prince Harry bringing a story, an article saying, this is evidence of unlawful information gathering. The MGN lawyer turning around and saying, how is that when that story was reported previously by another newspaper before we published our story? Oh, and get this, Buckingham Palace also confirmed some of these stories as well. So, yeah, where's the unlawful information gathering again, mate? Now, asked by MGN's lawyer if he was aware that the newspaper group denies the unlawful gathering of information, the Duke says he is, but insists that it's impossible to believe. But then get this, the lawyer then was like, impossible to believe? Okay. let me take your case to shreds even further, because this is child's play at this point. He then shows Prince Harry a Daily Mail article from the 15th of July 2000, 2 days before the Daily Mirror article he's complaining about, that reveal that Prince Harry and Prince William were not going to be present at the Queen Mother's Gala pageant. But Prince Harry insists that it's impossible to believe that MGN was unaware or denies that there was any unlawful gathering of information. Impossible to believe. Oh yeah, totally impossible. When with this particular article, it was reported 2 days prior by a different newspaper that's not part of Mirror Group newspaper. Yeah, okay, impossible to believe? Right. What's more impossible to believe is that, you know, with these articles, there was any unlawful information gathering. We now go to a third article where it was titled 3 a.m. Harry's Time at the Bar, released on the 19th of September 2000. Now, MGN's lawyer points out that Sunday lunchtime on Fulham Road, where this bar is, where Harry attended at the time, is, quote, a busy time, and that people may have seen Prince Harry walking down the street. And Prince Harry responds, "No, I don't walk down streets." Okay. But the thing is, here, MGN deny the claims and argue that actually photographers had been tipped off that Harry was in the pub and that it was photographed after being spotted and garnering considerable attention from people present at Sunday lunch, which is plausible. You've got Prince Harry all of a sudden in your local pub. You're not going to think that people are going to start talking and people are going to start telling people and maybe tipping papers off this, that and the other. Come on, of course. They say the story contains limited and banal information about his lunch and that the paparazzi pictures were not published. So here, the Mirror Group newspaper lawyer is turning around and saying, you say unlawful information gathering, but it's just as plausible that, dude, you're in a pub, you're freaking Prince Harry. So many people are there, they could have tipped us off. It's true. And then he proper gets him into a corner here. So MGN's lawyer then says that the photographer might have been able to rush to the pub to take the pictures once he heard that Prince Harry was there. And then Prince Harry says, well, he could have been there before I got there. And then the lawyer's like, yeah, no, you're staying in this corner, mate. It brings up that the chef at the gastropub is a famous celebrity chef called Ed Baines, who is quoted in news articles about Harry's appearance at his pub, saying that he could have called the press himself. So in other words, the chef at the pub has had a history of talking about Prince Harry in the past and saying that he's visited his pub many times. And so with that, it's also plausible to believe that the chef could have tipped off the photographers and the press, being like, guess what? Prince Harry's here again. More publicity for my pub here. Again, he's getting torn to shreds and destroyed. But wait, there is so much more. So we get onto another article here from the Daily Mirror saying, snap, Harry breaks thumb like William exclusive, which was released on the 11th of November 2000. Now, this is an injury to his thumb, which Harry alleges is private information. But MGN turns around and says that the information came from extensive prior reports in the public domain and had already been disclosed to the press by the palace. They said it had been reported the day before by the Evening Standard, the Evening Mail, and the Edinburgh Evening News. Again, all newspapers that are not part of MGN, right? Referring to what St. James's Palace had said and included quotes from a palace spokeswoman. So even if Prince Harry says, well, it's private information, well, so what? That still doesn't indicate or prove that the information was obtained by unlawful information gathering by MGN. And furthermore, again, there's a pattern. MGN's providing the receipts of newspapers reported it before them. And the palace themselves gave information out about his broken thumb. What unlawful information gathering? The lawyer asks Prince Harry, have you expressed any concerns to the Press Association about divulging information about the injury to your thumb? Harry responds, I have not. Adding that he's only now aware it was reported by the Press Association first. Like, seriously? Are you shizzing me? Like, that's insane. He's bringing an article, right, saying this is an example of unlawful information gathering. And then when the lawyer turns around and says, well, hang on a minute, the PA, the Press Association, they reported it first, right? He's like, oh, well, I wasn't aware that they reported it first. Ooh, my bad. Oh, ho, ho, ho. And then, oh, there's more. He says, in terms of this article about his broken thumb, he can't remember reading the article at the time. But then he turns around and says, everybody would have known that I broke my thumb at that point, but I don't believe that any newspaper had the right to talk about it. Well, if everyone knew at that point that you'd broken your thumb, well, where's the unlawful information gathering if everyone knew anyway? And if other newspapers reported it prior to Mirror Group newspaper, and the palace was also telling the press about it, it doesn't matter. Where's the unlawful information gathering? That's completely destroyed. It's completely destroyed. He then tries to change goalposts here, right? And he's now suggesting that perhaps the doctor's phone may have been hacked in order for the information about his broken thumb to have gotten out. The lawyer then turns round, and this is where he starts using where, otherwise known as spare, against Prince Harry. This is a stroke of genius. So the lawyer turns round and says, do you find it implausible that the information may have come from a fellow schoolmate? Prince Harry says, I do not. Oh, backed into a corner again, because then the lawyer points out that in Spare, he revealed that some school friends would reveal information about him to the press. For example, information about a haircut, or maybe even information about a freaking broken thumb, you guys. And so we go on to the next article, which is Harry took illicit substances and Cool It Harry, released on the 13th of January 2002. Asked if this information was the result of phone hacking, Prince Harry responds, unlawful information gathering, yes. But then, again, the pattern continues. Another newspaper reported it before us. The lawyer then says, look, the information about all of this came from a series of articles published in the first edition of the News of the World on the same day, before the Mirror article. And so here, MGN says the information came from a series of articles published in the first edition of the News of the World the same day, adding that it was followed up by every other Sunday newspaper. They said the palace had confirmed the story to the now defunct, it's not non-existent anymore, News of the World, after the then Prince of Wales decided to cooperate with the title. The publisher adds that Prince Harry did not initially allege that the Sunday Mirror articles about this had been unlawfully sourced. So here, again, it's, hang on a minute, there were other newspapers that reported it first before the Mirror Group newspaper. Oh, and by the way, the palace was releasing information about it, including your own dad, King Charles, the then Prince of Wales. Again, where is the unlawful information gathering? MGN is destroying and tearing his case to shreds whilst he's on the stand. The court now turns to, at this point, Prince Harry's allegations that the palace sometimes cooperated with the press on stories about him, as written in Spare. Again, this book is being used against him. So MGN's lawyers reading from the Duke of Sussex memoir Spare about the incident, which states that the palace cooperated with the story. And Mark Boland saying, quote, the spin doctor decided to spin the Duke, Prince Harry, right under the bus. And then the MGN lawyer asks if the palace sometimes cooperated with the press without your knowledge or consent on stories to which the Duke agrees, but adds, I refer to just 2 occasions in my book. But this is the thing, right? He claims unlawful information gathering, saying, I don't know how they could have got this information other than that, right? But again, it's also entirely plausible, even with him writing it in his book, that the palace did provide stories about Prince Harry without his consent or knowledge. So it's easily plausible that some or all of these articles that he's bringing to the High Court was as a result of the palace providing information about Prince Harry to the press, again, without his consent or his knowledge. And then the final bit before they've gone on their lunch, which is literally what's happening at the moment as I'm filming this. He's saying it's not my role to deconstruct articles. Well, it is your role to deconstruct articles, Prince Harry, when you're alleging that there's unlawful information gathering. You've got to prove that. You've got to deconstruct the article to prove that, right? So they move on to the 7th article, which is Harry's illicit substance parties. And Prince Harry in his claim has said he doesn't know where the words worried sick could have come from in relation to his father's response to his illicit substance taking. But if we go back to, a couple of pages ago, here we go. The palace had confirmed the story to the now defunct News of the World after the then Prince of Wales decided to cooperate with the title in relation to Prince Harry's illicit substance taking. So it's quite plausible that with this one, Prince of Wales did exactly the same thing. The then Prince of Wales, now King Charles, did exactly the same thing. Cooperated with title and said he was worried sick. And even if he didn't, I think it would be a safe assumption that any parent would be worried sick about their child if they were having these kind of parties. You know what I mean? But yeah, guys, a little bit of a lengthy one, but there was so much that came out of this morning's session. They are on their hour lunch at the moment. They will be starting, as of me filming this, in 25 minutes time. So I'll be back on it, getting all the best bits, all the more important bits, and I will be doing a trial recap part 2. So if you do not want to miss out on that, and believe me, after what's come out so far, you definitely don't want to. Do make sure you subscribe to join our Alter Nerd tribe. Help us get to 100k so we can get that silver play button right there. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatevers. Also, as well, if you've got some strong opinions about what's been said so far, and I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. Let's have a conversation about it, because it does guarantee a response from me. And until later on, you guys. Laters.